Hello, lovely people. Alright, we're going to give this a go, but I'm not sure what it's going to be like because it is the school holidays and my son is outside kicking a soccer ball around and my dog's going off his tree, so we'll see if we have any luck. But what I wanted to do today, so we know how obsessed I am with my gel plate, right? And I make print after print after print. This isn't even all of them, this is just one pile that I've had on my desk. And I've been trying to think of what I'm going to do with all of these prints. And I'm coming up with a blank. So by all means, I would love to hear your comments in the comments below. Tell me, what do you do with all of these prints? But, so today what I decided to do is I've gone through and I've grabbed out a few of my favourites. Well, I've grabbed out a couple because, you know, I love them all. But I thought what I'd do today is I thought I'd make a junk journal. So I haven't made a junk journal in a while. And I thought it would be a good way to use up a stack of these and yeah, give it a go. So what I wanted to do is I was doing the 100-day project. I'm doing 100 days of art, so it's a day in my art journal, a page in my art journal every day. But there was also another one that I mentioned, 100 days all about me. And if you've signed up, you get sent a prompt every day. And basically it's just all questions about you and your life. And I wanted to do this in journal form, so you know, one day when my boys are older and they want to know a whole bunch of stuff, you know, it's all there in a book. How awesome would it be to read a book about your parents' life? I know I wish I sure could do that. So I thought it would be a good idea to do it in a journal and answer all those prompts. I haven't started it yet because I wasn't sure if I wanted to make my own journal or just buy a plain journal. So I figured I'd just make one. So I've got all these awesome prints and we know how much I love, you know, bright colours and anything arty. So I thought, why not make my 100-day all about me journal out of all my awesome gel prints? So that's what we're going to do. Obviously, I don't know if I'll get 100 in... Oh, no, I might actually. No, I will. If I do 3 signatures, because I used to get 3 months to a signature. So if you've seen any of my videos in the past, you may have noticed that last year I used junk journals as my daily journal, whereas this year I've just gone to a normal day to a page. But I thought I would do this project and make a junk journal out. So that's what I thought I'd do today with you. So I thought we'd attempt to make a junk journal together. I have done a video before on how I put my junk journals together, but I thought we could have another go at it and make another journal. So that's what we're going to do. I've got a collection of gel prints. Some are on deli paper, magazine paper, music paper, and then good old copy paper. Most of them are one-sided. There are a few that are double-sided. So obviously when I fold them in half, I'm going to get a bit of both, but these ones are going to be plain. So it's going to give me a good mix of art print and plain paper. So I'm very excited to see how this turns out. I've never used prints to make a junk journal before. So we're going to see how this goes. So just quickly before we get started, this is one of my journals from last year. So there's a whole bunch of photos waiting to be put in. So this was October, November, December. So as you can see, I did a signature per month, if I can find. So that's October, November, and then I did a Christmassy signature for December using book pages and all sorts of stuff. So basically, I would use scrapbook paper, dyed paper. Oh look, there's an art journal print there. Print, gel press print there. October, I think I fell a bit behind, it would appear. And see, then I just sort of did some, you know, I got book pages that I painted over, just random stuff like that. So yeah, so that's what I'm going to do, but I'm going to use mostly all, oh look, so there's another one. So I did use a gel print in there. So that's pretty much what I'm going to do. I'm going to use gel prints to do my entire journal. So yeah, let's see how we go. So basically, that was one of last year's junk journals. I think I had 4 of those. So I start with a hardcover book that I got from an op shop. I go to the op shop a lot. I get books there, 1 that I like to read and also 2 that I can cut apart. Now this one probably I could leave the cover, but I'm thinking I might cover them as well. Maybe I should use a different one because this is quite pretty. No, we're not going to do that. We are going to use our supplies. We're not going to hoard them, are we? So, get yourself a craft knife. This one's probably the dullest one I own, but it'll do the job. My other one's in the car. But yeah, so what we're going to do is, like, we'll see how difficult this is going to be. So what you want is you want a journal that is, you know, glued up here sort of thing. So basically what we're going to do is we're going to get our knife and we're going to go down here and we're going to cut the inside from the cover. Sometimes I find it easy to get rid of the first few pages because they're sort of glued a bit differently. So I move them out of the way and then we're just going to cut down here. This is like the dullest knife I own. Be careful not to cut the spine because you really don't want to do that. And then we're going to pull and heave, and mine's also glued, so we're just going to pull that. We will reinforce the spine later on. Actually, well, I think that's what I do next. I like to cover the inside of my books first before I stitch all my signatures in. Alright, so this has probably been one of the more messier ones that I've ever cut apart. But, you know, we can fix all that. We're going to cover all this up anyway. So I keep these. I don't tend to throw them out. I keep them. One, it's good to clean off your brayer. And two, it's great for art journal pages, junk journals. You never know. So I keep those. So what I like to do, pull them off now. So we're just going to clean this up a bit. So this could probably all get cut off. And I think I've left my scissors. I have. Alright. Let's see, we're just going to... Now, it doesn't matter how ugly it looks because we're going to cover all this up. I like to cover it all up anyway. This is the way I make a junk journal. There are many ways to do a junk journal. There are many, many different ways. This is how I do mine. So I completely strip it and then I'm going to cover the inside and probably just the spine. And then I might colour the front. I have on a few of my journals glued paper or scrapbook paper over the front. It is doable and I have done it a couple of times. I find that it's easy just to cover the spine, and because this is a nice white cover, I might be able to add some paint or something to it. So that might be what we can do at the end of the video. I might be able to I might decorate it and make an awesome little art journal-y cover. That's what I think I'll do. Alright, so we're going to cover the inside. Now, do I want to use some gel prints or do I want to use some scrapbook paper? Oh, I like that, but I don't have two of those. I could make another one quite easily. I think I might use scrapbook paper only because I know it's thicker and it'll cover this much better. So I'll go pick something and I'll be back. So I think this will work. This is actually a sheet of cardstock that I decorated to make a background out of, and I never got around to using it, but I think this will be perfect. So, what colour should we do the inside of the spine? Alright, so I literally eyeball this when I, look at that, that's useless. I eyeball this when I do these. I'm not the world's most technical person. So literally, I will grab a pen and I'm just going to eyeball it. So I tend to match it up with the paper on here just to make life a little bit easier. So I'm going to go from there to there. Draw myself a line, and then I'm going to go to about there, or pretty much in the middle of my cardstock. And if I've measured that right, yep, see, I'll be able to cut that in half and use it beautifully. And my trimmer is out in the car. Alright, using my old trimmer, I hope the blade's still half decent. It's not too bad. I packed a bag to a scrappy tote type thing to go to my sister's to work on some of my niece's baby book. Not that we got around to it, we're too busy playing with the baby, but you know. So I've just gone over my little marquee, but I know that if I cut them in half, it works beautifully because I've done this before. So like I said, I eyeball it, and look, I can even use that in the middle. I eyeball everything. It's just the way I do it, and it works for me. I know it works for me because I've done this a couple of times. If you are making your first journal and you haven't done it before, it might be, you know, better to get more technical and measure things for you. You never know if that works for you. But yeah, this works for me. So I'm going to put those two there, and then I think I'm just going to use this as well just to keep it all the same. Or should I do something to contrast? No, I think we'll keep it like that. Or should we use something else? Alright, we're going to glue this down. Hey guys, so I just decided to do a quick little voiceover while I'm gluing all this down because you really don't need me to explain how to glue something down. The only thing is I used to use a Kaisercraft glaze paste, but I have found that gel medium works just as well. And I'm using a spatula tool type thingy, and I love using this for glue because it doesn't wreck any of my paintbrushes. So pretty much that's it. I'm just using an even coat of gel medium. I'm using a lot of gel medium just to stick this down, and I do wait for it to set before I start moving the book around, otherwise the corners will lift. So I'm just starting with my spine, and then I do each side, and then I overlap the sides with the spine so it gives it a little bit more reinforcement, and that's pretty much it. So this video has turned into a pretty long video, so I've decided to split it up into two sections. So this one is going to be part one, and this is going to be putting the book together and putting all my signatures together. And then part two, which will go up tomorrow, is going to be just finishing it off and decorating my cover. So nothing too exciting, but I really love what I end up doing to the cover, so I really want to share that with you as well, and of course share the finished result. So yeah, I decided to split it up into two, otherwise this video probably would have been over 40 minutes. So I thought it would be best to cut it in half, well not really half, probably just cut it into two parts. Just, yeah, so it would be easier to share. So part one is all about making the journal, and part two is just finishing off my cover pretty much. So yeah, I find making a junk journal can be a very long process, and sometimes because I've made so many, I'm not sure if I'm explaining it all correctly or in enough detail. If you do have any questions, please leave me a comment below. I do read all the comments and I try and reply to them all as well. So if there's anything you're confused about or anything you would like more details about, let me know in the comments below, and I will try hard to I will definitely reply and let you know the way I do it. Now, like I said, there's lots of videos online of how to make junk journals, and I think you'll probably find many different ways. This is the way I make them. I find this way works for me, and it's something that I really enjoy. I really do enjoy making junk journals and using them. I'm really looking forward to using this, especially for the 100 days all about me. So very excited to use this journal. But yeah, like I said, if there's any questions you have, anything you want to know, let me know in the comments below, and if need be I can even do another video and explain in much better detail. But for now, I hope that this video is doing the job and gives you an insight into how I make my junk journals, and hopefully inspires you to use up some of those gel prints of your own. That was the biggest motivation in this journal, was using up some of my gel prints, because I have so many. So I'm really excited to have an entire journal full of all these gel prints and seeing what I can do with them at long last. So I hope you enjoyed the video, and we're about to get back into it. So stick around for part two tomorrow. Thanks for watching. Alright, so I've got the papers for my signatures. I think I've got about 16 per signature. And normally when I do this, I use different sized paper. Most of these are the same size because I'm using all prints that I've done on the same kind of paper, but I do have a few that are bit bigger. So basically what I'll do is I'll go through and I'll make sure that they're all the same size, and make sure that that size is going to fit my journal. Now, so far I've been pretty lucky that plain copy paper is fitting in my journals without needing to be cut down. So basically what I do is I fold it in half, grab my journal, and then slip it in and make sure that it's not too big. See? So perfect. So this is going to be a good size for me. So I'm just going to fold all of these in half, and then we're going to make sure they're all the same size, and then we're going to put them together. So basically they're going to go inside each other like that. Now some I might do the other way, or maybe, we'll see, we'll make it up as we go along. So I'm just going to fold these all. Now when I first started, I was using an 8x10 gel plate, and obviously our paper is a little bit bigger than that, so I've got some white parts on either end. It doesn't bother me because I'm just going to, these are all just going to be backgrounds anyway, so if I wanted to I could trim them down and make them smaller, but honestly it's not bothering me at all. So I'm just going to fold them all. Some I'll fold the other way, some are two-sided, some aren't, or most aren't, some are, but so it's going to give me a mix of plain and background pieces. So I'm just going to fold all these and then I'm going to put the signatures together. This is one of my favourites. I love this print. So I'm using some book pages, so I am going to have some smaller ones as well. So I'm going to have some smaller pages. That's not going to matter until I put the signatures together. That's when I'll show you what I do. Now in the case of this one, obviously it's going to be bigger. Normally, as long as it fits in the book, it's not a big deal. And it still does, so I might just actually leave that one. I might not trim that down at all. Same with this one. I think I might trim down the deli paper, but I don't want it to curl at the edges. So I might just trim this down a little bit. So, these are the pages for my first signature. So I've got them all together. So now all I'm going to do is just slip them all inside each other. And this is going to actually be a lot easier because they are the majority the same size. Normally this is a bit trickier when you use different size paper and trying to get them all in the right spot. But because they're all the same size, not a big deal. Let's see, now I have a small, the smaller ones I tend to just put in the middle so that when I clip them I know that they're going to be in the right spot. I might actually grab another plain sheet of that. See, this is when keeping these comes in handy. So I can just rip one out and throw it in. Alright, so I might put this on the outside. Beautiful. Alright, so there's my signature. Now, okay, so this one is a little bit longer, so I might just move that up a bit. What I'm going to do now is I like to use paper clips and bobby pins. So, we're going to open it up to the middle. Make sure everything stays in line, otherwise your middle won't be your middle. And then I'm going to get my paper clips. Now I have these big ones here. Bobby pins work really well for this as well. So basically I just paper clip it to hold it in place. So I'm just going to slip a paper clip there. This is very important when you've got different size signatures as well, because what you want to do is you don't want anything to move when you stitch it. So that little piece that I have in the middle there, I want to make sure I'm going to be able to hold it. Like I said, bobby pins are really good for that because they're longer. I don't actually have any bobby pins. I don't know where they've all gone. Does anyone ever know where all their bobby pins have gone? We have millions of them. And how many do we really have? Just 5. So I'm going to show you my trick to probably the trickiest part of this whole system. Doesn't matter how many. Oh look, I do have bobby pins, so I'll put that there, because they work really good to reach those little pieces that you have in the middle there. It's going to hold that, but I do want to hold the sides so they don't move over here as well. No such thing as too many paper clips. What? Alright, so that is all firmly in place. Now, what we want to do is we want to make the holes for our cover and our signatures. Now, so what you want to do is you want to get yourself a scrap piece of paper, but you want it to be the length of the book. So I will trim this about there. I don't have to trim it really, we'll just fold it. There we go. Alright, so you want the length of your book. Very important to mark the top. Always mark the top, because if you don't, your holes end up all wrong. So this is going to be my template. So basically this is the length of my book. Now I do a pamphlet stitch which is very, very simple. It's just 3 holes. I can't sew worth a damn, but I can sew these journals and none of them have come undone, so it works for me. If I can do it, you can do it. So this is going to be my template. So if I punch all my holes off what I do here, they're all going to be, in theory, in the same place. So easy enough, I start in the middle and I do my hole in the middle. It's good to line this up with the book because this is going to be the length of the cover. And then, okay, so I want that one there actually, not there. And then I split the difference again. And there's my 3 holes. So I'm going to have 3 signatures. So what I want to do is I want to make sure, you can measure across the top if you really want, but basically I usually do one in the middle. So I'm going to line it up on my cover. Now I'm going to do one here, one in the middle, and then one there. And that's going to be the first lot of holes for my signature. Alright, so that's where I'm going to put the holes for my signatures. Now, what I'm also going to do with this is I'm going to grab this. I'm going to grab my signature and do the same thing. But this is the size of my cover, not my paper. And as you'll see, my paper is going to sit inside my cover. So by having it the size of my cover, I know that yes, this is bigger, but I also know that I just make sure I have the same amount up the top and the bottom, and my holes are still going to be even. So find the middle of my book, and then I'm just going to draw the holes right where I've lined them up. Now these holes here are going to match up perfectly with these holes here, in theory. So, alright, so I just grab an old mouse pad. As you can see, there's lots of little holes in it. I've actually used it to cut at some point. Well, that might have been a wheel. So I'm going to grab an old mouse pad, I'm going to grab my pokey tool, and I'm going to stab through these holes. And if I've lined my papers up correctly, which most of the time I don't, if I'm lucky, these are going to go through the center. They're only off a little bit, so I'm not too unhappy with that. That's pretty cool. It's still going to work. And then I'm going to do the same with the holes in my cover. So I've got holes in my cover. Yep. And then I'm going to get my thread. So I use this waxed linen thread. It's a bit thicker than cotton. I was using cotton to begin with and I was just double layering it and that was doing fine. But I like using this. It's much more sturdier. And I just have a good old needle. Just a big one with a big head so I can thread much easier. So can I have the scissors, bud? So I just get myself a decent amount. Thanking you. Thread my needle. And now the fiddly bit begins. Alright, so pamphlet stitch. Very, very simple. You go in through the middle hole. Then we're going to go down and then back up through the bottom. And then back through the middle hole. Back through this one and then tie it off. So this is the part I think confuses a lot of people, because when you watch someone else do it, when you watch someone else try and explain it, it's confusing, but once you do it, it's actually really simple. So I'm putting my needle through my hole in my signature, and then I'm going, so you always start in the middle. Then I'm going to, I think I'll start with my middle signature, and I'm going to put it through the middle hole of my middle signature. So I'm going to go in, and that's going to come back through, and I'm going to pull all this through. Okay, so now you're going to pick a hole. It doesn't matter which way you go, but you're going to go back in through that hole. So I'm going to go in the middle because I'm in the middle signature, and then I'm going to go in through the middle of my book. And this is when it helps to have already poked the hole, so you don't have to try and poke through all that yourself. Pull it nice and tight. Then we're going to go back through the middle hole again. So we're going to go in or out. I don't know, am I confusing you already? Going to go back through the middle hole, back through the middle hole again. So we've got 2 going through there. And make sure you always pull your twine really tight, because that's what's going to stop your signature from moving. So make sure it's tight there, tight there. So as you can see, I've got 1 through. So now I've got this, I'm going to go in this hole, back through to my signature, which is just my fancy word for a bundle of papers. In through that hole. Pull nice and tight. Now I'm going to check that all my, see how it's a bit loose, I'm going to pull that nice and tight. Pull this nice and tight, make sure my book is square. Nice and tight, and then I'm going to tie this here. Tie that off nice and tight. Honestly, it is a very, very simple stitch. If I can do it, you can do it. It's just getting your head around it. So I made that a bit too loose. Can I pull that a bit tighter? No, I cannot. There we go. I'll just do it this way. Alright. So yes, you want to do it nice and tight. Get off. There's someone here. Alright, scissors please. And then trim. So one thing I have learnt is to undo all of these paper clips before you close your signature. Just to, helps everything move. So, and then we're going to close it up and voila, we have a middle signature in our book. And he's very, very sturdy, see? So, ta-da! Nice and simple. So that's the middle signature of my book done. So now I'm just going to go and do that 2 more times. So I'll do it on the front and back. Alright, there we have it. 3 full signatures, very full signatures in my book. So I've got my cover that we put on and then my individual pages. So as you can see, it's going to give me a decorated one and a white, well mostly white one. So it's going to give me a mix of both mediums to play with. So I'll have basically an art background and then I'll have a blank one if I want to do some journaling or something. So it's going to work out really well. So I get the best of both worlds. And I'm using up my art prints. So this is basically a really good way of using up a lot of your art prints. So this is probably one of my favourite things I've ever done. It's probably one of the only things I've done with them. But like this print here is one of my favourites. I use one of my favourite stencils and some new stamps. So basically I have a journal using all my favourite paints, stencils and stamps. So can't go wrong with that. Can't go wrong with that. And then, yeah, so I have 3 full signatures of all art prints. And I got some different media. So, looking forward to playing with this. I love having different textures in my art journals as well. I usually use baking paper, but I really wanted to use up a lot of my art prints in this one. So obviously I'm not going to leave them all blank. Some of them, like, so this one I'll add some more ink or paint or something to. So I'm going to have a lot of fun filling this, like a lot of fun.